Good evening, folks. Sorry I can't be there. My students are presenting their research for their 20-time project to the public. So I've created a video in regards to infographics as a literacy tool. In Canadian society today, we are bombarded with visuals, whether it's through personal communications or in our professional platforms. And we are surrounded by students who are defined as being digital natives. And a digital native is somebody who has had accessibility to the internet since they've been born, and they're infusing digital tools into their lifestyle. In the classroom environment, we need to make sure that students are developing the skills necessary to make them successful in the 21st century. And I will argue that visual digital literacy competencies is one area that students need to develop, and they can do this through learning about infographics. So to define infographics, an infographic is a visual that represents data. It is something that helps readers understand quick information. It tells a story, and it also creates interest through visual. Infographics can be absorbed by simply reading them, or individuals can also use digital platforms to create their own infographic. The research in the area of infographics and them being infused into the curriculum is very minimal, and there needs to be more research conducted in regards to infographics as a literacy tool. In my paper, I defined digital natives, infographics, visual literacy. I looked at the New London group. Also, I looked at multi-literacies and multi-modalities. To dig a little bit deeper into infographics, the history of an infographic, I looked at Susan Metros, who talks about universities being the superiority or the pinnacle of written context or information and the distribution of knowledge, and universities frowning on the representation of knowledge through a visual context for sharing with other people. I also looked at the idea that through our schooling system, we are educating students in theory to go to university. However, Statistics Canada claims that only 24% of recent high school graduates will go down the path of attending university. So traditional essays and presentations, they still have value. However, living in a digital society like we do today, that is bombarded with images, we need to make sure that we are preparing our students and making sure that they have the important visual literacy skills to understand and produce the visuals within our society. So infographics, they've been around for centuries. There's a gentleman by the name of Paul Sullivan who worked for the Sunday Times in the UK from the 1970s to the 1990s, and he repopularized the infographic. And he basically wanted individuals or viewers to be able to understand the information that he was letting people be informed of in an easier fashion. So digital tools, they allow people to have more accessibility to information, and they are now seen more in publications such as newspapers, magazines, corporate communications, and also in government communications. However, in the education system, we are not seeing as many infographics to date, and there needs to be more teachers taking on the role of learning about infographics and infusing them into their curriculum to make sure that students have the digital literacy skills they need. So when I examined the research for this paper, I came up with 5 key benefits for educators using infographics within their curriculum. And the 5 consist of: 1, students are able to retain the material more effectively. 2, students are becoming more actively engaged in the production of content. 3 is students are able to create and have a more conceptual thinking when it comes to using infographics. 4, it enhances the communication that students are able to use whether that's through identifying an audience or condensing large amounts of data. And 5 is teachers being able to use visual literacy tools, such as an infographic, to make sure that students are knowledgeable about digital literacy. In conclusion, the way that we need to move forward as educators is to make sure that we recognize that the education system is changing because of the accessibility to digital tools, and the speed of change is happening very quickly. We need to make sure that the students that we are working with have those digital skills so that we're not only preparing them for the written and reading content that is traditional, but we're also preparing them for those modes to be combined or intertwined with digital communication. So being able to use an infographic like you can see on the screen here helps students develop those skills, and it provides a platform for students to be creative and reflective. If we educate a student, if we don't educate a student in regards to literacy, when it comes to writing and reading, they go into society being illiterate. This is the same when we look at the digital world we are living in. If we are not preparing our students to understand digital visual literacy, then we are not doing justice for them to get the skills they need. So it is our responsibility as educators to make sure that students have these skills when they leave school. And an infographic is just one set of tools that can be used to help students develop the digital literacy skills that they need to be in society today. So I'm going to show you 4 areas or 4 platforms that you can use. One is called PictoChart, which you can use to create infographics. The second one is titled Infogram. You can use that to also create infographics. And finally, if you would like to use Pixlr, you can also make some quite cool infographics in this platform. And finally, for assessment of your infographics that you'd use with students, you can use the platform titled RubyStar to create rubrics to assess your students' assignments. So thank you, folks, for allowing me to show this video in regards to using infographics as a literacy tool. I look forward to watching the video of your presentations and working with you folks in the future. Good luck on your master's degree and have a good night. Thank you.